Hey everyone, thanks a lot Nixo for the quick intro. Thanks everyone for joining today. I'm here to talk about liquidity staking, a new DeFi paradigm that we're building. I'm not going to talk a lot about KelpDAO, which is the protocol that is building this liquidity staking, but I'm generally going to talk a little bit about the evolution of staking, liquid staking, and the next paradigm in line, which is liquidity staking. Just for quick context, everybody, like the entire Ethereum, like in 2015 is when ETH emerges as the global alternative layer for value exchange and value network. And in 2020 is when native staking was introduced, with obviously with a minimum of 32 ETH, anybody could spin up their validators to run an ETH node. And then like in similar time frame, liquid staking was introduced, which kind of democratized staking, kind of like the pioneers include Lido, Rocket Pool, etc. And then in 2023 is when ETH restaking was introduced. Restaking platforms like EigenLayer and a couple of other versions of EigenLayer are really making this restaking ecosystem popular. And the essential concept of it is, for those of you who are not familiar with the restaking and the associated networks, the essence of the idea is to kind of reuse the decentralized trust network of staked ETH in providing security for other dApps or applications or protocols that want to actually use decentralized, build decentralized networks. So let me get into a little bit of details. Just like I'm going to skim through this very quickly. You're all probably familiar with the fact that how liquid staking democratized staking for everybody. Now, like with liquid staking, we don't need 32 ETH to kind of participate in staking. So these guys really kind of brought down the barriers for staking for everybody. And then the additional two advantages of liquid staking was it was very capital efficient because people could participate in DeFi, earn additional rewards, yields, etc. And then obviously this brought liquid staking got liquidity to staked assets. This was very important back in 2020 when there was no withdrawal time period on Ethereum. Yeah. So just like how Ethereum kind of offers a global alternative for building financial applications, restaking kind of takes it a step further because of the additional advantages and the potential applications that it could actually bring in. So essentially, slide, the way, so basically the idea of restaking is that there is billions of dollars of staked ETH that can be reused for providing security for other applications, dApps, or any kind of L2s, or potentially multiple other applications like oracles or applications needing programmable slashing, etc. So they are the prime candidates that can use this restaking networks like EigenLayer. And what we are kind of building is a liquidity layer on top. The reason why we are building that is because we believe there are going to be a lot of challenges with regards to restaking as a paradigm, and some of those challenges are highlighted here. One is this is going to create extremely complicated UI UX for a lot of users, because as a user, when you're actually restaking your Ethereum or any of the liquid staked assets, you're going to be restaking those with obviously two major players in the ecosystem. The first one are essentially the validators who are validating on a restaking platform like EigenLayer. The second ones are all these services, which includes the dApps or applications that are being built on top of these validators on the restaking ecosystem. So now, as a user, you have to actually choose between node operators and the applications that are participating in this restaking ecosystem. That really complicates the user interactions. So that's one significant barrier to that's one major barrier to restaking adoption that will exist in the long run. The other one is obviously when you're participating in in restaking across multiple applications, you're going to be rewarded in multiple different tokens. So for example, protocol A rewards users in ETH, protocol B rewards users in stable coins, and protocol C, D, and E in their own native tokens. So there's already 5 different tokens that users have to actually claim, pay gas fees to actually like harvest their rewards. So this is going to make their experience extremely complex. The third one is obviously losing liquidity. When users restake their ETH or LSTs, there is going to be an unbonding period that is going to be imposed by platforms like EigenLayer. So there is an instant loss of liquidity that users will face. So all of these 3 major barriers exist in terms of adoption for restaking, though there is a significant frenzy around EigenLayer, airdrops, etc., that attracted a lot of capital. But if you kind of remove the noise around airdrops, so these 3 are going to be the major challenges that users will face in the future when choosing restaking platforms. And how do we solve these? That is where we believe LRTs, liquid restake tokens, can elegantly solve some of these, along with some of the risks and challenges that some of the restaking platforms are going to create in the future for Ethereum. So how do we solve it? Essentially, when users restake their Ethereum or restake their LSTs, we're going to issue a simple receipt token. For Kelp DAO, it is called RSETH. So now that restaked token represents the underlying ownership of the restaked assets and is also eligible to receive restaking rewards like airdrops, etc., of the AVSs that are going to be using these restaking platforms. So that's going to be like extremely capital efficient for the users, because they're not only going to get ETH staking rewards, but they're also going to get ETH restaking rewards along with airdrops, etc. And then on top of that, they will be able to use this token on DeFi platforms like Aave, etc., for collateralizing or for providing liquidity across Curve Balancer, right? So it is going to be like probably liquid staking on steroids. Now, it is also going to create a better user experience, because the LRT platforms are going to abstract the complexity of claiming these multiple airdrops in different types of tokens and give those to users in a single transaction. So that will take away the complex user experience that restaking is going to introduce. And because RSETH is just like any other token like RETH or STETH or ETHX, etc., it is going to have, so protocols are going to build liquidity on AMMs and potentially on centralized exchanges also in the future. That is going to unlock liquidity, so they don't have to face any kind of barriers in terms of withdrawal periods or unbonding periods. So LRTs are going to elegantly solve the problems that are created by restaking, while also enjoying the benefits of these restaking platforms. Just want to pause a little bit because I covered a lot. Any questions so far? It doesn't move next. I also want to cover some of the risks that exist with restaking networks like EigenLayer, that we believe LRTs could potentially be able to solve some of those risks. One of the major risks that is highlighted when it comes to restaking platforms like EigenLayer is slashing related risks, because this introduces additional potential slashing risks on users' staked ETH. The way LRTs could solve this is by selecting a bunch of operators who are well known and have the network infrastructure necessary to run staking services in a much better way. So that is going to limit the slashing risks for users. The other potential risk that restaking is going to introduce is centralizing the network a lot, where all the users are going to choose like brand named validators for restaking their Ethereum. But with protocols like Kelp DAO and other LRTs, they are going to limit the centralization risk because they are going to allocate the restaked capital or restaked Ethereum from users' deposits across multiple operators. And once there is a lot more clarity in terms of the AVS or the restaking services that are being developed, or or the services that are utilizing the restaked assets, like ways and means to sort of onboard operators permissionlessly is also going to be a reality with the required bond amounts. So all of that, all of those checkpoints in place will limit the centralization risks associated with restaking networks, right? And the other one is obviously impacting social consensus, since I'm sure some of you have read Vitalik's paper on how restaking is going to burden social consensus for Ethereum. One of the ways and means to sort of limit this risk is by selecting services or applications that pose limited risk to users' capital, so that need for a hard fork is kind of minimized in the future. So that's how we believe LRTs can potentially solve some of the risks with regards to restaking, and these are some of the mitigating factors we are considering while building our solution in the Kelp DAO. And yeah, so this is our Twitter handle. If you want to follow Kelp DAO, happy to answer any further questions. Thank you, guys.
If nobody has any questions, we're going to take a short break. I think we've got 5 more minutes until the next speaker.